Afrofish OG. What is going on, everyone? It is Taylor and Afro and Black Scorpio again. I don't have my glasses on. I'm back again on the Afro and the Scorp podcast. It's been a long time, even just for me and Scorpio to be on here. But we have what I like to call "Welcome to the AFRODOME," where I actually bring in multiple creators to go and just talk about the most bullest of shit. We got Voices on Demand, Who What Now Gaming, and you changed it. Changed the Goofy Hunter.
Hey,
dude, I'm actually really excited that you changed that. You know, you gotta get your TikTok to change it too.
Oh yeah.
But I'm excited. Like, this has been something. I think it was just something random. I'm like, let's see if we can do this. Which was great because we have almost the perfect amount of people that equals up to my limit of how many people I can have on here. Because I asked a few more people, but due to scheduling issues, they couldn't and stuff. And I was like, oh, that's a good idea. I got all these people, and then all of a sudden I look and I'm like, oh fuck, there's a limit.
There's a limit.
Like, I did not think this one through, but it is what it is. If everyone else want to introduce a little bit, so I'm not talking so much. Scorpio, you don't get to talk.
All right, no problem.
Damn.
I'm just here to look pretty.
Well, I mean, hey, your beard is better than mine.
Ooh, eye candy.
I know, right?
Yep.
But Voice, you go first.
Hi, I'm Voices on Demand. My real name is Lance. I've been streaming for a little bit, playing video games all my life. And I'm happy to be here.
I mean, you could make it sound less like an AA group.
I'm sorry. Hi. So, I like playing a lot of video games, mostly crafting survival. And I like also cheesing games. So that's also a big thing that I like to do, just finding a way to cheese whatever I can out of a game.
That's fair, actually.
Yeah,
that's valid.
That's definitely an issue I'm having with Elden Ring right now. But Josh, you next.
What's up? It's Who What Now Gaming. But I'm also Josh, or you can find me as Phoenix Stewart on streaming platforms. Variety streamer, content creator, podcast, all about what makes a gamer, what makes a creator, and the deep dive in behind the person behind the screen. Man, I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Awesome. I appreciate it too. Like, I wasn't sure if everybody else would be able to make it or not, but I'm glad you're here, dude. 100%.
Thank you.
Sage.
All right. My name is Sage D. Goofy Hunter, and I'm an addict.
With the hands together, like, hello.
Yeah, and I'm an addict. I'm kidding. Lifelong gamer, full-time anime nerd, full-time 3D print specialist, or printsmith, as I'm trying to coin that phrase. That's pretty much it. You can find me on TikTok as Captain Goofy Hunter, where we hunt goofies 24/7.
Nice.
That needs to be like, you need to have your whole Discord and everything just designed for it.
I need to go block an account real quick so I'm not on the next episode of Goofy Hunter.
It's got to be like those like World Wildest Police videos, like on the next episode of Goofy Hunters.
See, and I gotta get like that super annoying announcer voice to do it.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I'm sure you could probably find this. There's probably someone on TikTok you can find.
There's probably somebody on here like, you need the annoying voice. You don't worry about that. Like, you don't need an annoying voice. It's not like you don't have a demand right here.
There you go.
Damn, there it is. Scorp.
Next time on Goofy Hunter Z.
All you need is like the '90s rock music to just.
Dude.
No, exactly.
That'd be
Was,
perfect.
yeah, I mean, I'm just saying that was the best part of fucking Dragon Ball Z. It was like the '90s rock music for no reason.
Nobody watched for the show. We just watched
No.
for the next time on, and then the fucking
the recap and then the pre-cap. Like,
because no one gave a shit about what happened.
Recap even a word? Like,
yeah, I'm pretty sure it's like, before the next thing, it's like, that video where it's like, hey, this is what's going to be happening next, and then the recap.
oh yeah, well, I guess it is.
Oh, okay.
Looking
Guess
up the word
what? I
for
watch
recap
anime.
But Scorp, man, how you doing?
I'm fine. I don't need no introductions because I'm just here to look pretty.
I mean, that's fair. Look at that
Yeah.
sheen off that bald ass.
Yeah,
head.
no, I mean, if you want to tell your future, just look into the light.
I mean, just join the club. Just join the club. It's fine. It's fine. We have cookies every Wednesday.
Yeah.
Cookies every Wednesday.
I'll be right back. Let me go shave.
Oh,
Well, like they say in Final Fantasy VII, you can't join the club unless you got to do the whole. Yeah, you got to be bald.
I will not. I hope that I don't end up bald. Actually, you know what? Let me scratch that. I wouldn't mind being bald. It's balding. That's the part that sucks.
Well, see, that's why you shave your head before you find out that you're balding.
Yep.
You can't know.
Once this hairline reaches the middle of my head, everything's going.
Like
Pretty much
you
for
have
me,
to
if the
say
hair
yes,
grows back,
sir.
it's all the sides.
Yeah.
I wish like the middle was a little bit longer so I could go the full Vegeta. Like,
Yeah.
Hey, at least you're not hitting like LeBron there, right in the middle.
Damn it, Kakarot.
The one hair.
I mean, I'd be stressed too if I had to basically hold up the entire
leave
NBA for
Armstrong out of
20
it.
years.
Yeah. Dude's got two hairlines trying to meet each other.
I mean, grab a marker; it would be the same thing. We could draw it out.
I've seen those videos.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen people who get the little hair transplants and shit like that.
Oh, you mean the fucking antlers on your fucking forehead?
So I think that if I was to be going that route, I would have to do that one thing that they've been doing, where it's like you cut your hair and then you make sure it's nice and clean. They put this like glue type stuff on and you just glue it on your head and it looks natural, but then like every week you got to take the thing off and apply more glue to it. You wash it like your regular hair and all that other stuff.
As long as you make sure it's not Gorilla Glue, I think you're fine.
Dude.
Oh gosh.
The single funniest shit I've ever seen in my life.
Like that lady had no hair at the end.
No.
Because of that. That was
What she had was hair drawn on by Sharpie.
You get one curl.
She had the same hairdo as Astro Boy, but at least his shit was shaped properly.
Dude, I was gonna say Charlie Brown, like that.
No, Pigpen.
Gosh.
Oh yeah, the Pikmin. Yeah, Pikmin.
No, exactly. Oh man, that was
Either that or fucking Jimmy from fucking Ed, Edd n Eddy.
Oh no.
Not the Jimmy. No, I fucking love that show.
Ed, Edd n Eddy was great. Freaking Ed with his like super strength whenever he got a rock in his shoe. Oh,
Dude. He was a menace.
Ralph, dude. Ralph made that show fucking hilarious.
Oh yeah.
Like 100%.
You stealing piece of white bread.
So
what is that? You insult the son of a shepherd.
Yeah.
So let's get one thing straight. This is how true gamers are. They go from talking about hair to shows to games.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Basically. Yeah.
Welcome to the attention span of an ant.
Yeah, we all have ADHD.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Crazy.
Guess what? The train just starts going, and then you jump onto another train. You don't care where that last train was going. It's where this new train is. Like,
oh,
that's
exactly.
what it is. Like,
So are we chugging along, or are we
make along the
keep
way.
steamrolling?
Well, it's funny because when I used to work with teenagers, I used to say that was like a lot of times you see that with I always say that like when the girls would start like collectively getting together, like you just see them like nothing would really make sense of the shit they're talking about. And then I realized it's just the same thing with dudes, depending on the subject.
Oh, our shit makes sense.
It's all connected somehow. It just connects in some alternate way.
Kind of like two hairlines trying to meet each other.
Yep. First,
See,
they
it comes
start
full
with DMs.
Yeah, it comes full circle.
But I will say, since this is more of a game, it started off as a gaming. Now it's just kind of whatever. But like the gaming podcast, I will try to keep it as gaming as possible.
Let's go ahead.
I want to start hearing with your guys' experiences when it comes to gaming in 2024, especially us all being kind of older gamers, anyways.
Yes, man. Back in my day, we had the Pong.
Back in my day, developers actually cared.
Yeah.
You ever heard of an Atari?
Back in my day, there wasn't microtransactions out the ass for everybody to have to do.
Well,
Pay your money and you get the full game.
Yeah.
Well, I also remember back in our days, McDonald's burgers weren't actually made of meat. So I mean,
When did they change the actual
They're
meat?
still not meat.
Like, you can't. That is a bad example.
At least
for
Taco
it.
Bell's meat is 80% meat.
Oh, that makes me sad because that's the only thing around me that's actually open past 10 o'clock. And
That's that drunk food right there. That drunk and high food.
It's good going in, but man,
Your stomach is weak if it's not good coming out as well.
But no, I want to hear what your guys' experiences are like when it comes to gaming now, especially this even just this year. Like, it doesn't have to be games this year, but just this year in general. Like,
I mean, other than having to work, like, my gaming is not as much as I would love it to be because, I have to go and make that money to pay the bills. But
so you continue gaming.
Yeah, I that's the main thing. The only reason why I'm going to work is so I can continue gaming and, play games like, Sons of the Forest or Legend of Zelda.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
did you get the new one?
Oh yeah. No, that was the day it came out. As soon as I got home, I just started playing. I haven't beaten any bosses because I'm going to be streaming that, and I'm going to be like, hey, all of these bosses are new to me, but the map is not.
I'm excited. Like, I actually, like, when I saw that the Echoes of Wisdom and like you get to play as Zelda.
I'm letting you know right now. I have already found out what type of strategy I am. It's called being an asshole. And
like, club.
Yeah, I found an echo. I got an echo of a monster, and it's just so nice to be able to just be all like, okay, we're going to use this echo, and then we're going to do this, and no problem fighting any of these monsters. I'm not going to say it because again, I don't want people to get spoiled on it, but. Yeah, it's going to be great.
That sounds awesome. That sounds like really, really cool. But Josh, your turn.
2024's gaming, dude. I don't know. It was pretty cool. I'm looking forward to a lot of the releases at the end of, or what we're still looking forward to, for the releases. Some games have definitely let me down so far, and the games, like, I never even got a chance to play them.
Which ones?
So, Skull and Bones was an absolute shit show. And I've been looking forward to that game for like 12, 15 years. The Assassin's Creed Shadow was supposed to come out in like 3 weeks and has now been pushed back to February. Their response for that is like, hey, we know it sucks. We're just trying to make sure everything's in good working order, which, hey, I can appreciate as like a consumer of the games. But at the same time, to heavily advertise something to a point where like your like the amount of money that they've already made for pre-orders, and then you're going to push it back 6 months, like kind of,
it's giving Rockstar with GTA 6 vibes.
Right, exactly. And so like, I'm kind of bummed about that. Their statement saying that like the first, basically like extra content for the game will be free to everyone, which is like cool and everything, but like, it's like, all right, so you're pushing the game back, but also like you were prepared to just charge people for extra content anyway. So it also just kind of gives me the vibes of like, we're going to give you like a 75% complete game, and then we're going to just charge you installments to like complete a game, which I'm not always a huge fan of unless it like actually feels like DLC content instead of like just material for the game that I feel like I should have had to begin with. But that being said, not to be super negative, more of the positive things. I was a huge fan of Baldur's Gate 3. That was a fantastic year of playing that game. If I've put about 600 close to 700 hours into that game. So, I love it. I love everything about it. I'm a big nerd as it is. So being able to kind of really dive into that game, experience a truly
full-fledged,
full-fledged, exactly, and the amount of time and effort that they put into the game to truly make it a one-of-a-kind experience really proves that with passion we can create a greatness. That being said, I think my 2024 experience has also kind of led me down some games that I have not played before that have come out years and years ago. I just for the first time never once saw any spoilers, never once watched any gameplay. I had absolutely zero experience with the game. For the first time 2 weekends ago, I started and finished Until Dawn, and that shit was fantastic. I loved it. It was awesome. I mean, not a super gameplay heavy type of game, but as a story, as a game, as an experience, it was great. I loved it. It was super fun.
And I was there for that too.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, it was awesome. It was a good time.
So that's a really solid game.
Yeah.
Yeah, those games, they're not my game style, like the type that I like to play, but I did have fun watching people play it. It was definitely different. And it did bring a good, story to the table, and that's one of the main things that can make or break a game is just storyline.
Absolutely,
or not.
1,000%. That was that was pretty much my entire reason for skipping the game for so many years, because that's not my style of gaming that I typically enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
I've been absolutely loving Black Myth Wukong right now. And that has been my main go-to. There's games that I'll play while I'm streaming, and then there's games that I'll just play on my own time to have fun.
Yeah.
And Black Myth Wukong, I'm at the end of the game right now. So I'm pretty excited to start New Game Plus. It's a solid game. I love it.
I wanted to say, when it comes to Black Myth Wukong, it's okay, because I've heard it's a lot of people started saying it was kind of Souls-like. Is it Souls-like?
It's Souls adjacent.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right next to Souls. They hold hands. Yeah. That's what they do.
It's Souls in a way that there's one level of difficulty, which just kind of forces you to understand mechanics and do less button pushing.
Get good.
And it also kind of opens up the field for the gamer to really take their time and understand. I mean, it brings me back to when you're playing a Souls game, you go into that boss fight and you have absolutely no intentions of just absolutely wrecking house the very first time. You're gonna try your best, but you're gonna go in and you're okay, well, this is a move set that's gonna happen every couple of seconds. This is something that's gonna happen. You kind of start to learn the move sets and everything. What kind of sets it apart is that it is it feels like a very vast open world, even though the game itself is extremely linear. But when you die, you don't lose your currency.
Yeah.
So that is a huge separation from Souls games.
Okay.
That's the saving grace too.
Yeah, it's 100%. Yeah.
I'll have to definitely check that out. I've been it's one of the games that's on my list to play.
Yeah.
And it's once I get my savings back up, all that other kind of stuff, that's gonna be the target. Definitely get. It looks just fucking incredible.
Yeah, it's hard as shit though.
Yeah. You getting cheeks clapped every single time.
I did hear some people say that, oh, they should have included like a game difficulty in this. And like, okay, if you can't get your skills up to a level where you can beat the damn bosses, just stop playing. In my opinion.
And that's the other thing. It's not unbeatable. Like
Yeah.
it's and I fully agree. Like people say, you know, like, oh, I wish it was like a little easier, or you know, this has to be this way, or this has to be whatever. Like the in-game mechanics, if you really dive into the game, it actually has mechanics to allow you to, when you like essentially get the basics of the game down, that you can kind of pick and choose the way that you want to, you know, to play the game. So you have armor sets that basically give you an insane amount of defense. So you're able to jump that defense up there to the point where, you know, you're going to have a lot more health. You can, you know, dump all of your, you know, your stats into, you know, defense or health or whatever, or you can get yourself this like absolute badass looking like demon set. And all it does is it basically increases your, you know, your attack power, but it also heavily increases the amount of damage that you take. So it feels so much more Souls-like because the amount of stress into, you know, the amount of damage that you take is so much higher. The risk is so much greater.
Mm-hmm.
See, this makes me feel like it's a lot more like Monster Hunter, because that's another game that I'm just like obsessed with.
Oh, I fucking love Monster Hunter. Oh my god.
But like, oh, it's like you can have the Rathalos helmet. It's going to help your hearing, but your weapon's going to get dull for no reason.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But like, no, it's definitely a fun game. Like, you know, you got to get good. Like you always want to be adapting, and you always want to be getting better yourself. And that's basically what I see with a game like Wukong. It's just like, get better, do something different, try to think outside of your normal frame. And yeah, that's what
I fully agree. I think that's one of the key mechanics in there that also keeps you from kind of crossing that boundary of Dark Souls kind of games.
Mm-hmm.
In Black Myth Wukong, in comparison to like Souls games, you want to like redo like all of your stats. You have to like get a special item that's going to allow you to do this. In Black Myth Wukong, at any point, at any time, you can completely reallocate all of your points into a completely different strategy, which is nice because it kind of pulls into the lore of, like, you know, the Monkey King and being able to adapt for different situations. You're going to find that like certain chapters, you're going to thrive with an entire different play style than you will from chapter 1 or chapter 5. And it's super nice, and it's all about learning your environment, learning the enemy types that you're going up against, and adapting to it, which is like what they play so heavily into, you know, like the lore of Wukong altogether.
Yeah.
No, that sounds. That's what I actually, that sounds even better now. Like,
it's fantastic.
Like, I'm like getting more and more sold the entire time. It looks really, really good, and you know, something that Voice, you brought up, the fact of just the, you know, that kind of learning to adapt, learning to, you know, better yourself. I think that's just something we've been seeing more in just when it comes to these kind of games in general. Now, like, it seems like more games want you to adapt, to learn, to, you know, they kind of want you to push yourself a little bit. You know,
yeah,
and it seems like, you know, you get people who are saying, like, I want a game to be easier, you know, and that's one thing I really will appreciate with the game. I'm just gonna glaze Elden Ring again, but I'm gonna, because I think it did it. It's done it one of the best.
Yeah,
it's accessible, but the game is still difficult. You know, I've seen quite a few people who are playing it and they'll just allocate their skills into fuck whatever, you know, and then they end up wondering why the game is so difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Strategy
is usually the key when it comes to games like this. Like, one game that got me to learn to kind of change my perspective and adapt to most situations is Monster Hunter, because
Yep.
No one hunt is the same. You can hunt the same monster 10 times, and each one of those hunts are going to be different. You're gonna once you master their moveset, like it's easy to kind of like not get hit, not fucking die, but then they'll throw you a curveball. Like, fuck, here comes Devil Joe out of fucking nowhere.
I was literally about to say that.
Just to fuck your life.
The first time I ever ran into that angry pickle, I was fighting a bird, the Querpeca, and I kid you not, he made a weird sound. I was like, okay, what was that? And then all of a sudden, out from one of the other areas comes this angry pickle, and I had to put the game down because I wasn't playing storyline. I was just instantly into the multiplayer, getting my defense up, getting all my different things up, and I put the game down. What the is that?
Yep.
And found out what the angry pickle was, and proceeded to run away because he one-shot me that one time, and I was like, okay, we run from this for now. But yeah.
Dude, to this day,
yeah.
so when they first introduced him with that special request, there has never been a time where I've actually hunted him by myself until last year. Last year was the first time I hunted him by myself. Mind you, I'm hunting him with master rank gear. The high rank Devil Joe. I hunted him with that, and the fight was still difficult as hell.
Okay, so I don't know Monster Hunter. Like,
oh, see, I saw your face when he said angry pickle.
Yeah,
you're gonna look that up. You're definitely gonna trust me. You'll understand why we say angry pickle.
Look him up.
Like this is a monster. When you cut his fucking tail off, he'll move to try and eat it, so you can't carve it.
Yeah, he's not a fun. Well, he is fun to kill. So
yeah.
Play Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate. I did the aerial stuff. I did the aerial moveset, and then I would just keep on mounting him, knocking him down, doing all that stuff. And then he wasn't in Monster Hunter Rise, which makes me sad.
I see now.
I'm definitely gonna have to look it up because
have you seen the trailers for Wild?
Yeah, I'm going to fight the chicken T-Rex first. I want to find that one.
I hate spiders, but I want to fight that fucking spider monster.
Yep, that one too.
Just because it turns his ass into a rose. The fuck?
I got nothing for that.
They fixed a lot of things, like you know how if you play in multiplayer and then sometimes you'll get kicked from the server, you can actually call NPC hunters to help you hunt that monster now.
Oh, nice! That's
and you can even call them to just help you hunt while you're doing it by yourself. So
that's something that they introduce into Rise. You can actually have hunts with the different NPCs, and each one has their own weapons and their own fighting style. It's great.
I cannot wait because I main the bow. That's my favorite. That's my favorite all-time weapon.
Hammer.
Yeah, the hammer is fucking awesome too.
Scorp, your turn.
Well, like they're pretty much saying, like, as for gaming wise, it's been very not the greatest. It's mostly just been like all remakes and remasters, but a few games here and there.
You're still hunting into Baldur's Gate, aren't you?
No, I finished it. I finished it multiple times.
Hell yeah!
I was just going through it, like wanting to do like a Baldur's Gate 101, trying to, just delve in there. Like for people who haven't played turn-based games before. I mean, I've never played a turn-based game before Baldur's Gate 3, but I've adapted to it. It's like it just goes to show like how easily adaptable it is and like what people don't find and everything. But I mostly stick to the RPG and shooters categories. But two games that made my top like two of this year would be Lies of P and Bloodborne. I didn't play Elden Ring yet. Afro knows this, but the end of the year, I'm gonna be doing it for like the winter for Christmas.
Okay.
And it's just gonna be straight like Mary Slane with Elden Christmas like galore.
You're going to be Elden Ringing it up.
Yeah, like instead of the sleigh bells ringing, it'll be like the Elden Ring.
Yes,
ringing.
nice.
So I'll admit the only game I played this year, because this year has been kind of shit for me. I lost my job in February. I was unemployed for about 3 months, so that was very, very difficult to deal with.
Sorry to hear that.
I mean, I did kind of. I can't remember. Was Power World this year?
Yeah.
Power World's here.
I did hop on that for a little bit just because I was able to get the Game Pass shit. That was okay. That game was really fucking buggy. Like,
they fixed
super buggy.
They fixed a lot of that.
And then the only other game that I played was Star Wars Outlaws.
Well, it's a good thing about you hopping off of Power World because they just got sued, and Outlaws right now is going through some stuff too.
Dude,
that's why I didn't pay the full amount for it.
What was your opinion on Outlaws? Because Outlaws seems like a massive letdown to me.
All right, so I wasn't expecting a lot.
Okay.
Mostly because of all of the issues that were surrounding it anyway, like the whole paywall,
right?
The fucking keeping certain missions behind, like the season pass shit. Didn't understand that at all.
Really?
Like what was the fucking point of that? Like I'd understand if you were going to continue like increasing like missions and different storylines and shit. Okay, make it worth the money. But from what I could see, the animations, ass. Absolute fucking ass. Like, for one, how the hell is this a knockout? How the hell is that a knockout? Like, and I get they sacrificed the look for the gameplay mechanics, which still needed work because the combat was subpar. The storyline was actually not that bad. Like, for me, I give it a 5 out of 10. Not terrible, but not the best.
Yeah, that's actually kind of where I was guessing, and I haven't even played the game.
And like the real thing that makes the game stand out is the exploration. Like being able to travel over this huge ass map, and then you traverse from land to fucking space. Where I know it's like a little animation in lieu of a loading screen, but it's just cool to fucking see you go from fucking outer space right into the surface. I thought that was a cool ad. Other than that, I feel like they could have done a lot more with that game.
All right, so I got a question for you then. So one of my big like issues that I've had with a lot of like large map games is their sense of or the ratio from exploration to time needed to explore. So what I mean by that is if you were to take like Spider-Man 2, right, we introduce a new mechanic where you can kind of slingshot yourself around the map and use some web gliders and stuff. Super cool mechanic. Except you've made the map larger but introduced a new system to move faster. Therefore, map no longer feels larger. And because we've done this, we've taken out like 90% of the possibilities of exploration because there's no need for it. They did the same thing with what was that AI generated space. No Man's Sky did the same thing with that. So the game itself was infinite. You could land on any planet you ever wanted and desired and stuff, but the planet didn't have anything. So you could explore an entire planet, but it's the same thing whether you're on this coordinate or this coordinate.
Kind of similar to Starfield.
Right. So, like, my question is, did they basically do the same thing? Because I know that they talked heavily about the exploration, but like exploration only feels exciting if there's something to explore.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they definitely pretty much did the exact same thing.
Okay, so that was
Because while there are areas that you could go to where you'll find shit, like little bitty resources and shit, and sometimes you'll run across like, I don't know, a fucking a group of fucking thugs or something.
Yeah.
In which case, then you just kill them, take their shit, and then and
dip
leave.
out, right?
But there's not enough to kind of warrant the exploration. It's almost like it's almost designed like if you are the person that likes to explore like everything, then you can, but they're not gonna like just like incentivize you to like one game that actually did reward you for exploring is the Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor games. The maps were not that big.
That is true.
But everywhere you went, there was
Yep.
something there to collect, something there to get, whether it was a boss, a power up, fucking collectible. They rewarded you for exploring other portions of the map.
Yeah.
They did not do this with Star Wars Outlaws.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that was one of the main
That's a letdown.
disappointments for me.
Yeah, and that's kind of like it's basically like they went back to like whenever Rage first came out, that one game that was super big. But the moment that you killed all the bandits in one area, it's like, okay, they don't come back. It does not bring back anything. Like it becomes a big empty space, and it's kind of like, you know, it's kind of like Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom, and Breath of the Wild. Big open map, very empty, and it's like it makes you not want to explore because like you get the dopamine from finding things. You get the dopamine,
and that was one of the things I was finding it hard to like. I didn't pay for the base game. I did the Ubisoft Connect thing. Just linked one of my Cash App cards, paid for it, and then took all my money and moved it somewhere else so they couldn't keep charging me.
Yeah.
But, so I've played the game for about a couple of days. Off and on, I've gone like a week or two in between playing that game.
Yeah.
And it's a new game. I have never done that where I've like started a new game and then had no desire to return to playing it because it just didn't feel like it should. Like when I played Assassin's Creed Odyssey, where there is a fucking large open map, there is a lot of shit to go and see, there is a lot of shit to go and collect, and it's not just like the exploration. Like you're in ancient fucking Greece.
Yeah,
you get to go just check out all this cool shit.
Yeah,
I spent so many hours in between missions just exploring, checking shit out. And I'm not that big into exploration unless there's something to explore.
Yep.
Yeah.
I felt no sense of urgency to play that game. Like fucking, I played Starfield more than I played that damn game.
Ooh,
and I was off and on. I still haven't beaten Starfield, mind you. I'm close. I'm close to the end. I'm close to the end because it took me for fucking ever to figure out what the fuck I was doing.
No.
Because you can explore, but I couldn't figure out like how to travel to the fucking different planets and shit.
A sense of direction would be.
I couldn't figure out how to stop my oxygen level from fucking depleting as soon as I take a fucking step because I had too many items. I didn't realize that. Oh, you carry too much shit, no oxygen. So I'm over here just slow crawling it through the entire fucking game because I thought that I was fucking something up. Yeah, that's how stupid I felt.
But that's also, I think, that's also an issue though too. It seems like with a lot of Ubisoft games in general, because I know like one of like a game that I do enjoy is Far Cry 5. But when that game is done, it basically just becomes hunting and fishing simulator, and because there's nothing really extra. Yeah, you could go hunt a bear that's been taken over by the Bliss, but you do that once and that's it.
Far Cry 5 was violently American. I'm just going.
I absolutely love Far Cry 5. I love Far Cry 5, but it's like once you're done, it's like that's it. You beat one of the regions, and I'm just sitting there on a boat maybe I'll come across the bad guy. I don't know, but then I caught a rainbow trout.
I knew Ubisoft was going down the drain after Assassin's Creed Unity.
Oh.
Yeah,
I fucking hated that damn game.
Wait, you hated Unity?
Much. Yeah. I thought Unity was straight.
Unity was the redheaded stepchild that nobody wanted.
I like Syndicate. I love Syndicate.
That was France. Syndicate was actually not that bad.
I had fun with Syndicate.
They redeemed themselves in Syndicate, and then Origins was good. Odyssey was good. I didn't like Valhalla, and I for damn sure
I
didn't like Mirage.
I haven't even gotten a chance to play Valhalla.
Here's the reason why I didn't like Valhalla. It's
all right,
not
hang
the
on.
gameplay.
I'm waking up here.
It's not the gameplay. It's not the story. Those were great. The weapons, fucking love that shit.
Yeah.
The issue I had was having to travel so goddamn much in between missions just to get shit done. That was the only thing I hated.
All right, what do you think of Black Flag?
Black Flag?
I
was on a ship. I was on a ship. Yes, it was a lot of travel. I know. But there was a lot more shit to do.
No, it wasn't.
No, it was.
In all honesty, it was the locale too, the Caribbean. I don't really have too much interest in ancient fucking England. I really didn't.
Okay, but I ain't got no interest in the sea. What are we gonna walk around doing sea shanties? Someone's like, oh
hell yeah.
Check out my boat filled with other people and sailors and shit. And then they're like, hey, you see a shark? And they're like, well, I guess I'll just go fucking dive down in there and go pet it.
Well, that shark's about to die.
Until I can get my purse set up.
That was one of the dumbest gameplay mechanics I've ever seen.
Yeah, I know.
Hunting fucking whales and sharks and shit.
Oh my god!
You don't want
the fucking Captain fucking Ahab?
Yeah. Listen, being a pirate is the best thing ever. You stop it right now.
Black Flag sucks. All right, and I've already had that is a hill I would die on.
I like that piece of trash so much. Okay.
Yeah, Unity was good, but Unity fucked up in the biggest sense because they had two Assassin's Creed launches on the same date, and the issue was that Unity was exclusive to PlayStation, whereas Rogue went to all platforms.
It did.
And so there was people who wanted to get Unity but weren't able to because it was exclusive. So then Rogue got a bigger bigger audience, so they spent more time focusing on Rogue instead of not making Unity the exclusive, and which storyline wise whatsoever, again, another hill that I will crawl up and die on. Rogue is also like you're playing as a Templar, which is the whole point of Rogue. So why are we calling it the Assassin's Creed if you are a Templar and end the game as a Templar?
You're playing as if I'm not mistaken, you're playing as number 3. You're playing as the father.
Yes. Yeah, so like it sets up the bloodline.
Number 3, you play as both the father and what's the name, and then 4 was supposed to be a prequel to 3 because that was his daddy, and that was the only. That was probably what it was for me too. Reason why I kind of liked it. That and Freedom Cry is pretty much where I resonated with it because I actually liked his second in command. So getting to kind of just play through that shit, I thought it was pretty damn cool.
Yeah.
So nostalgia from the third game is pretty much what kind of puts Black Flag up for me. And that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I mean, I can't I had this huge if you want to see the conversations, I think people eventually just gave up on trying to fight with me because, like I said, it's a hill I'll die on.
That's your hill. You're king of that hill.
Yeah, there's a TikTok I put out, and I got a lot of hate for saying that Black Flag was terrible, and people were, and I had to clarify, I mean it isn't terrible as in it's a game that had really cool mechanics. It was fun to play as. It's very fun to dual wield swords and be an absolute badass and drive a ship right into another ship, jump off the the helm of it and go right into town and stuff. So it was a lot of fun to play. But as a game where we're talking about the Assassin's Creed, and living by the creed of assassins, and then you
Yeah, it fell short.
start a game where you literally murder an assassin, steal his identity for the first half of the game, and you pretend to be an assassin, then go to the island of the Brotherhood, in which you are then denied. And then as you play the rest of the game, the only time that you actually are accepted into a Brotherhood is not even the Brotherhood that A, is in the game. It's completely elsewhere.
Mhm.
And B, it's after the credits of the game. So like, it's just one of those games where it's like, it's not really an Assassin's Creed, like, because it's in, and people will argue, yes, it is the journey of an individual, like, going into the Brotherhood, which is cool, but like, establish that. Don't call it what I mean by that is like Assassin's Creed Origins. We know by the title and by the established beginning of the game that this is the origins of the Assassin's Creed. So I am well aware that while we're playing Assassin's Creed Origins, we have not established the Assassin's Creed yet. Whereas,
right, but
like,
you knew that going in.
Right. And that's what I'm saying with Black Flag. It was like, hey, it in my opinion, it felt like we were focusing more on the pirate aspect than we were of like the assassin as we followed like Ezio Auditore and
Yeah, like
like
didn't he become an assassin halfway into the game?
Ezio?
No, he was
Not
straight.
halfway.
No, he was straight out the gate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was an
Oh, shit.
assassin right off the bat, but he got 3 consecutive games.
Dude, and I fucking loved each one of them.
Oh, they're my favorite. Yeah.
God
Yeah.
damn it.
But that's
they were
why-
fucking awesome.
But Valhalla, I think, is also one of those things where I probably feel the same way about Valhalla as others do about like Black Flag. Where like I can definitely agree that Valhalla is not technically an Assassin's Creed game. It is more of a, Norse Viking simulator, which is cool. But I think they also spend a lot more time in the lore and mythology of Norse than they do, a creed of any sort. Because that one bleeds into what was Basm or whatever his latest thing was, which also I just kind of skipped. Yeah, I kind of skipped because it kind of felt like, are we just giving them superpowers at this point? I'm getting kind of lost.
Well, again, and
Trust
that's
me,
the thing. Originally,
that game
like
was
going all
garbage.
the way back to like
Mirage.
Altair. No. Going back to the very first Assassin's Creed, all with Altair.
Yeah.
Like the whole set in the Jerusalem, the Holy Crusades. That was the whole point of the Creed. Was the whole Apple of Eden. It lost its way once it hit the ending of Revelations with Ezio, because it travels from Jerusalem through Italy all the way to like Constantinople and everything, and then that's where it's said and done. Then it jumps to the whole but then we have the American Revolution, then the Caribbean with Captain Kidd and Blackbeard. It's like that's more of folklore as opposed to the whole sticking to the creed. Then it comes like Syndicate, like that's just following the future trends, but then they try to make it go backwards with the whole Origins species. But if you really like look at the timeline between the Origins and the medieval ages, it's like there's that gap of like, and just the way it is, because I love Assassin's Creed. Like I'm
I do too. I'm a huge fan.
It sounds to me because I'm not for
Never
myself. I'm not actually like a huge Assassin's Creed person. Like I've played some of the games and I've enjoyed them, but like I'm not a huge like when it comes to it. But from what it sounds like, it sounds like they're more focused on just being like, oh, the cool and trendy wherever it's gonna sound cool.
Yes.
Rather than the actual like keeping to the lore and the actual story and like of trying to make that as consistent and as well done as possible.
Well, that's the thing. That's where they lost it, because if you follow the Templars as they rolled, it started in Jerusalem. It started in Italy. Like they are there, but then it starts to get more modern. Like there's the modern assassins, hence why the American Revolution. Then you have the Industrial Revolution in 7. Then see, they lost it at Unity. They lost it in France because France had really no partake in it. Sure, just because you want to hear like, they're looking at the history books. They're going through history. They're like, okay, so we got the Holy Crusades. We got the medieval empire going. Then now we like the Renaissance. Now we have the American Revolution, the Industrial Revolution. So what's next? Oh, unity. Oh, there was the French Revolution. Well, guess what? Well, sorry, nobody wanted Napoleon to be canonizing his own people right then and there, right on the spot.
Yeah.
And then they did it with Rogue. They're like, okay, well, let's add Rogue now to continue off 3. Well, okay, so you did a prequel within supposedly a spin-off
Yeah.
that overshadowed the 5th one because it stuck to the Templar story.
Right.
Then the Templars disappear for a bit. Then they come back in Valhalla. It's like, well, the reason why I didn't mention Origins and Odyssey is because there was nothing there.
Yeah.
Why was there nothing there? Because it was the story of 300 with Leonidas.
Yeah.
Again, like why are we now talking about the Romans? Why are we talking about the Battle of 300?
Yeah, fucking Atlantis, for God's sake.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're just opening up the history books now, and you're just like, okay, so just like
throw a dart.
Well, and that was one of those things where I started getting really excited when I was playing through Valhalla because if you play the I think it's the Dublin DLC, you get to a point where they were basically like Avar will go and kind of take out this like camp that's doing like they're like mining for something, but they come across an Apple of Eden like thing, an Eden artifact, and instead of the direction that they thought that I thought they were going to go into, which was that like Avar would take the relic and we would start to kind of see where that next relic kind of goes, because like in the very beginning, you know, even like Ezio, like it kind of felt like we were following the story of the Apple of Eden, and you know, it was just Ezio was the next hand to touch the beacon kind of thing. Whereas like, you know, as we move on from there, we were following just like random timelines. But in Valhalla, once he gets to a point where he knows the artifact is basically behind the door, you get a little cutscene thing where he kind of goes up to the door and he looks at the puzzle and he goes, "This isn't for me," and he walks away, and you never get to see where that goes. And now, you know, we're going into, you know, Assassin's Creed Shadow, and I'm like, well, now hold on. I feel you introduced a kind of a huge thing to the like Assassin's Creed Templar kind of like, you know, battle here, and we're just gonna kind of ignore it.
They're just gonna sweep it under the rug,
right? So I'm like, well, hold on. It's like, what are we doing? You know, like you can't.
It's starting to feel like they're trying to take these periods in time just to throw them at us, like, oh, you guys wanted to go to Japan during the feudal era. Here you go.
They just trend. They're like chasing trendy stuff now. Like
even
that's
the
unfortunate
stories of the games are now their own contained stories. Like
yeah,
some of them will branch off into others, like with Valhalla and Mirage, which I'm not gonna lie, Mirage was poorly executed in my
because Mirage was not supposed to be.
I know that. So what I heard, and I read this in articles, was that they were basically trying to return the game to its origins.
Yeah.
So they stripped it down to its bare bones, literally. And the combat was so damn simplistic, it felt like playing a PS2 game.
Yeah.
The story was not well fleshed out. It was obvious. It was subpar. There were too many plot holes. Not a lot of the shit added up. And then the combat in and of itself was fucking trash. Like they literally just removed it and said, okay, we're going to give you guys the alpha version of this game and see how it goes. Because that's what it fucking felt like. They didn't put any effort into it at all.
Do you remember?
That's what it was supposed to be story wise. It like that's where they tried to return back to Basim. Hence why it went back to Jerusalem when he was with Altair. It didn't fit because it was.
Wasn't it set in Baghdad?
Altair
was in Jerusalem.
No. Mirage was set in Baghdad.
Well, it was still in the Middle East. So what probably was Baghdad way back was probably all of Jerusalem, because you got to remember, going back in history.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Like
Separation,
the entire
tectonic plates.
Yeah.
Pangea.
Even during the timelines, none of this makes sense except for Valhalla being the first.
Pangea.
Yeah.
So-
Dude, Assassin's Creed BC. Like that's
Yeah. So another thing that I gotta say about the Assassin's Creed thing, the games in general, they kind of feel like from the very first one that we played, and then going forward, it seemed like it was less and less impactful just throughout the entire game. Like I killed one of the main people that you're supposed to kill in one of the new ones, like in Odyssey.
Mhm.
And it's just all like, wow, that felt like nothing. But in that first one, that first game, it was just all like, oh, you had to like be seething with rage on this person, and you finally get him. And then like the whole cutscene and everything, it felt like it was an impactful, like you changed a part of the world. But in these newer ones, it's like, oh, I killed that guy.
When you killed
here's the feather thing. Here you go. Have fun. It no longer feels like you're actually even doing anything
because there's no purpose. There's no purpose. Again, going back to the original Assassin's Creed, all the way with Revelations and Brotherhood and all that, and the whole Ezio thing, they had their mission was the Apple of Eden. Like you saw the Apple of Eden, it was something that could make or break the world. And it started with Desmond, it ended with Desmond. He because of him and Juno, it seems all alien, but it really isn't when you really look at it. It's all about spiritual and the higher being of the Knights Templar was originally the Holy Crusade. You're dealing with the creation of life itself. Yeah. That's what had the huge impact. That's where it lost where you had something. These newer games are they're fluff. I'm sorry to say, but it's just, hey, guess what? You want to go to Japan now? We're going to go to Japan.
Well, and I kind of want to jump off that point there because I kind of feel the same way. Like as someone who started playing Assassin's Creed when Altair came out, I've been following it for a great portion of my life. I have been following this timeline of Assassin's Creed and this whole story and everything. And to begin with, learning about the Apple of Eden and then going through the whole path of the apple, and then learning that Ezio completely sacrificed the remainder of his life to just kind of sit in a chamber and rot away while guarding the apple and stuff, and going through this whole timeline and then learning about these higher beings and everything, and then the higher beings going into Valhalla, where we've started to kind of incorporate the higher beings into cultural mythologies, which is cool because it would make sense as to why each one has different gods and goddesses and stuff. But all of that aside, we have not even come close to an ending or an answer as to who or what they are doing. And it's been fucking 25 years. Give me something.
Yeah.
I'm losing my interest because you're just telling another story over and over and over, but we get sight of who these higher beings are, but we're not learning as much as we could be about who they are or what they're doing or what their purpose is. And it's kind of getting to a point where I don't I like the game for the game now, but I think that's the problem. I think I'm now just playing the game because I'm like, oh, this game's gonna be fun.
It's not through emotions. It's not drawing you into the shit at all.
Yeah, I'm not playing the game to continue the story anymore. I'm playing the game because I want to play it. Hey, nice.
It was all about this.
Yeah, 100%.
It actually glows. See, it was all about this.
I felt bad.
Is that the golden snitch?
No, this is the Apple of Eden.
I felt immediate dread once Desmond died. I remember telling my brother, because me and him played 2 Revelations and the other ones together. And when we got to the end, I remember telling my brother, I don't think this was a good idea to kill Desmond.
Yeah,
I understand But now it feels like they're not going to have a story to continue to progress, because unless you bring someone else to replace him, which they have not.
Nope.
I thought they were going to. Once 3 came out, I was like, okay, maybe. And then 4 came out, and I was like, nope, that was a prequel. And then they just kept on pushing and not even going back to the fucking story anymore. I was getting to the point where, like you said, we're just in the game for the game. It's no longer trying to unravel the mystery of the story or who the hell these beings are and why the hell the pieces of Eden exist, why they created them, what the fuck is going on. Like, it was such a compelling goddamn story that drew so many people in, and now it's basically it was crack. Well, it was the highest grade of crack, and now we're getting the step down shit.
Well, I'm curious now because the way that Valhalla ends, it's a transformation of mind from like 1,000 years, and so like you end the game as who is it, Basm or the other guy or whatever, but his mind is in your like outside your outside character, you know what I mean? And so like to find out that like that Eivor didn't actually like die in Norway after returning like home, or staying in England over with like Wessex, and like there was no like to find out that he died over in like Ireland or something, and you're like, oh, that's cool and everything, but like why are we now explaining this whole mind transfer thing as like another or addition to this like whole Templar and artifact kind of situation, but we're not going anywhere with it, because it also kind of felt weird at the end of the game that when you go back, like the credits roll, right? And then it's like, hey, keep playing the game, knock yourself out. Well, now your motives as Eivor feel different, because you're supposed to be going through memories and playing as that character, as they lived, and learning about their experiences and stuff. But he doesn't have the same intentions as the character that you start with in the very beginning of that game. So, you know what I mean? So you're still exploring, but now it's like you're learning the same secrets that, Avar knew, but we didn't do anything with the next game. And so I'm curious, are we going to bring that whole aspect into Assassin's Creed, Shadow, or are we just going to also sweep that one under the rug like we did with the artifact?
I think they're going to sweep it under the rug, because again, where it's going, because it's not only Shadows that they're on right now. They also teased Assassin's Creed Hex, and looking at it, Assassin's Creed Hex also has that witchy vibe to it. That
is it like where's that take place now? What is that, like down south or something?
I have a feeling. I have a feeling what Hex is gonna do is it's gonna follow exactly like the Dark Pictures and do something about like the witches of Salem during something of 1962. I think it's gonna do that because again, what in history has Hex in it and looks so witchy was the impact of 62 with the whole Salem witch trials all over the world. See, but to go back into what Josh, you were saying is, even though it ended off with Cassandra about
that was her name. There we go.
Yeah, and like
fuck, that's right.
Like, that's the name Noah right there.
Yeah, Cassandra. I was just sitting here. I'm like, you know what? It's true. After 25 years and talking about Altair and everything, they literally have dropped the Apple Eden off so bad that I think what they're trying to do now is, honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing it. Everybody's forgetting about the Apple and doing all this. All the diehard fans are still on track. They're like, where are we at? Because like you said, Eivor did come across that one door that he couldn't open.
Yep.
And if you look at actual history, again, who were the very first human beings like after the whole BC, before the 1000, before the 10th century? The Vikings. The Vikings were the very first. When we came into Jerusalem with Altair, it was during the time of the 1600s, which means in the 1500s, before that time, there was no mention about how even this apple has even come into play. Who had it? How did he get it? And who was like the whole thing behind it? So
we moved into the scepter
across of it and opened up that door to open it up into the whole new like chapter. So I think they're going to do a complete runaround, and they're going to eventually come back where he or someone does find that door, opens it up, and there you will find the apple, which will be later taken to Jerusalem, and it will go full cycle.
Yeah, I mean, it would be cool to like connect some of the dots, but it also still wouldn't explain why, because the objective of the game is that you are getting so immersed into the AI or the virtual reality
The Animus.
aspect of the Animus. And so you're getting like lost in this to the point where like sometimes you'll play the game and you'll just be like, oh yeah, I forgot we're actually like an outside character. And like it was kind of weird, like with Black Flag, like every time you'd come out of the Animus, you were working, you were at your job. And then you were like but you were playtesting this for like a video game, which was a cool aspect, but then it did heavily introduce that there is a modern day assassin group that kind of live in the shadows and do they're like the anarchy, like vendetta, like V for Vendetta kind of shit. But then there's also the opposing side, and you have like the whole Templar like situation. But each of these games we have yet to like see, and I say this because like I want to see where that aspect of the story goes.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I do not want to see a modern day Assassin's Creed.
Right.
Like I don't honestly, maybe it's just my opinion. I don't want to see. Yeah, I don't want to see like fucking World War II version of Assassin's Creed, or like I really don't want to see like
weren't they working on that?
I hope not.
I don't want to see a like a 2020.
Only reason I ask is because I remember seeing some footage of what I thought was the next Assassin's Creed game, which was going to be set in World War II.
Even if they did, it'd be too modern. But the next one, I believe, I mean, judging by the two that I've kept track with, was Shadows and Hex.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're gonna push through with Hex before they move on to that one.
I think the Assassin's Creed trend right now is mythologies, and I think that's where they're like, because it's the easiest thing to connect to the higher beings, is why a culture would look up to a higher being. But also because of just real life politics, it's also why we're not going to see like, one day they're not going to end the story with the reveal that these higher beings are like, Jesus or something. Like they have to, because they have to stay away from like real life politics. But like for some reason, like we're totally cool with like, messing around with like Norse mythology or like Celtic banters or whatever.
Well, you have Norse, Celtic, Greek already. There's no other one that's coming up.
No, yeah, they had they had like, because I remember in Origins you had the whole like the DLC where you could basically go to the like different levels of the afterlife and learn about that and fight like the sun god and
oh gosh, it's just,
I mean, if they just keep on going, eventually they're going to meet Kratos at this point.
Kratos was an assassin.
But yeah, Afro, what's the next one, man?
Yeah, that was what, like.
Yeah, we didn't mean to make it go on to an Assassin's Creed topic, but
no, I'm glad it did, because I someone who has, like I said, someone who hasn't played the games a whole lot, learning like a lot about them, and I think I just honestly kind of learned a lot about Ubisoft itself. It's just
and I think the problem is
now they're shit.
Yeah, well, I think at the end of the day, and here's just like my trying to think of the positives of things instead of like, because I always feel like if I complain about something this much, I also have to have this much to say in a positive aspect. But I think when like Ubisoft, when they first started, right, and they're building up their credibility with like gamers and like the nerd world and everything, and you start to kind of like create this business and they start to really take off and they're doing really, really well, and then now we're 25 years later and or 30 years later or whatever, and they're like, their whole company is now this like massive organization and stuff. You get to a point where like there is a percentage of the game that you have to market solely for the profit, because if they don't make a certain amount, then they can't pay their organizations, they can't pay the the employees, they can't pay to do everything that they need to do with the game. And I think that kind of puts them down a dangerous rabbit hole where you start to create the games that will sell, and you kind of ignore the games that are going to progress what you started with. You know what I mean?
But here's one thing. I do have to say that it with the whole being like talking about all the negatives and stuff, and then you got to throw in some positives. No, in some cases you have to just focus on the negatives, because if you are the consumer, you are the person who is like buying their games, and they are saying, "Hey, we listen to you guys. We want you to hear from you." If all they're hearing is negative about the same thing, it forces them to change. I mean, like, we just had one of the greatest games ever come out, and which was Baldur's Gate, and it's because they actually listened to the fan base, they actually listened to things, the negativities, and they changed. Right now, they keep on giving us the same, like, potatoes on the plate, and then they're just like, oh, we threw on just a little bit. It still is mushy potatoes. Can I get a baked potato? Can I get
just added a little bit of pepper?
Yeah, and like it's games. It's the same like kind of rabbit hole that like EA goes down with their different games. Like there was like talking shit about Callisto Protocol is one thing that I will say. Like they went down the Callisto Protocol was going down the same rabbit hole that Dead Space 3 that does not exist. Like they went down the same rabbit hole with that, and it's because they weren't listening to the negatives. They were not fixing what was negative about it, and then they made a whole ass game that was just negativity, bad. Like, and then like you said, they're getting to be this giant company. This giant company needs to be listening to the people that are paying them for their entertainment, because once you hit that point, we are not entertained. And once you hit that point of, you're not listening to your fan base, you're going to lose money. And then it's just going to be that surprise Pikachu meme. Like, oh, they're not buying our game. Why is that?
Well, and I think, but
you know what? I think you changed my mind a bit. I think you're right.
Yeah, no, negativity. We're gonna shove it right in their face.
Double down.
I think part of it too, and this is where I think this comes more for the publishers and stuff, is when people do have actual critiques of it. I don't think a lot of these publishers, these bigger companies, are also very good at accepting the criticism. Now, I know there's a difference between filtering out criticism versus hate, versus like literal just being just douchebags. But like, when you have an issue, I'm going to go back to it, but I'm going to use Madden for an example. Madden's been a prime example of this for, I would say, damn near 20 years, especially after they got the exclusivity license. And then after they started with their whole connected careers and stuff, right?
Yeah.
They really went downhill with they basically tried to eviscerate their franchise. Their franchise mode has been pretty much gutted. They've tried to put stuff back in, but they've never really worked. And it always, like, Superstar mode got taken out for this connected careers because they brought in Ultimate Team, and all their money is focused on Ultimate Team. All their ads are only solely focused on Ultimate Team. Excuse me. And it's been over years after year after year after year after year of the same garbage. But no one else can make an NFL licensed game. And even if they did, it'd be so difficult to get the licensing and all that other kind of stuff. There's only one other company that would possibly be able to do it, and that's 2K. And 2K is in their own deep bag of shit. So the thing that sucks worse about the sports game is that there's a couple. I'll say one thing. One, developers do not care. They don't think about it. I should say developers. I should say the publishers do not care. EA does not care. They all they look at is the dollar signs. Two, you get people who I include are basically shills. They will. I mean, you ever seen, like, I don't know if you guys ever seen it or not, but it came up on my because I've been looking at like college football and College Football 25 and the Madden. And the way that these guys are just I'm so hyped. This is the new one. This is how this new game comes. I'm so excited. It's such a difference between them. And you're like, dude, where's the difference, right?
Yeah.
So they'll add we're adding this new stuff. We add this new boom tech situation. We add this, but it doesn't feel any different.
Dude, I fell off the sports game train back when NBA 2K19 came out, because I played for the fucking My Player, and I didn't fall into that whole like, oh, we came up with some new gameplay mechanics and this shit's gonna be fucking awesome. I played that game for 2 weeks, realized it made my butthole itch, and stopped playing it.
This makes my butthole itch. I don't like it.
Like I couldn't stand the shit. It fucking annoyed the fuck out of me. And I'm like, how the fuck do these motherfuckers fall for this shit every damn year? Because it's every fucking year. They repeat the same shit. They don't really change anything. Maybe like one or two things they tweak, but it's the same shit every year. And y'all still like, yeah, this is the greatest ever. And I'm just looking at them like, y'all are fucking stupid.
Yeah, I actually have to like super agree with you on that one, and it's also like some like the trap that I fall into with Call of Duty every year. And it's like I'm super excited for Call of Duty to come out, and then I play it for like 2-3 months, and I'm like, this is like the first like month that I play it, I'm like, this is it. COD's back, and I'm super pumped. And then everything goes to shit, and I don't want to keep paying for all the extra shit that they're asking for, and everything's so everything's chock full of microtransactions, and then all I want to do is just not play it anymore, and then I don't play it for like 6 months, and then I find out the new the next game's coming out, and I'm like, wow, this one's gonna be it. This one's gonna be the game. And then I just fall right, and it's the same damn pattern over and over.
Because you still have hope.
That's it. That's the key right there. Yeah.
You have hope that it's going to go back to its origins. Like, I don't like if I see that there's microtransactions in the game, I look at it with the hugest like side eye, like, bitch, you better not.
Yeah.
Like,
as long as it's only like cosmetic stuff, I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
But if it's like if you're pulling full content from the game from me behind some form of paywall, like get
like that one. There was this
one
game.
You can play this mission. Give me $25.
Yeah.
No.
What was that one game on PlayStation where you were the one dude with 6 arms, and like literally
Asura's Wrath.
Asura's Wrath. Like literally, the mindset that you're going to keep a crucial part of the game that you are charging people from them unless they pay you money. Absolutely disgusting, and I hate any company that does that. Like,
that's that corporate shit.
That's been Ubisoft for years. I mean, you see a lot of that. Like, if you get this silver tier, this gold tier edition, you can get majority of the game that we actually have for you.
But also, like, these are big decisions being made by those who don't actually aren't gamers. They're not consumers. They're not. These are people making the big shot calls who don't even play their own game. And not to go on like a side tangent thing, but there's a huge thing where in the TTRPG community and stuff, especially with Wizards of the Coast and D&D, there was a big thing where basically there was somebody who found themselves in an extremely high level of power in Wizards of the Coast, and then made an absolute huge call that on paper, on a chart, would look like a great decision, but basically revoked all content creators from ever being able to use.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I think I know.
And they almost sunk, because the rest of us in the community were like, yeah, no, we don't need you to have fun doing what we're doing. And so we eventually found out that this person who made the call doesn't play D&D, doesn't doesn't do like Magic the Gathering stuff, doesn't involve themselves in the nerdy thing. In fact, they were a business major, and that they look at the numbers and the charts and they go, this is going to do well if I do this because statistics tell me so. But we're eliminating the real life factor of the people who are consuming it, which is like what, not to do like a self-plug thing, but like this, the one thing I mainly focus when I do like, my show is that like we are all consumers doing consumer shit. Like don't like and kind of like go a little full circle, kind of Afro, you sent me this a pretty dope like article that I've read probably maybe a couple of times now, because I wish that they went deeper into the conversation in the article, but talking about how like we're focusing on the wrong reviewers these days, and we're focusing on reviewers who are paid by the companies or organizations to review the games. It's the same shit when I read or when I'm like scrolling on TikTok and someone's like, like, oh, this product is the best. This is, this, that, and the other thing. And I love this and I'll use it every single day. And then it says paid promotion. I'm like, yeah, man, if you gave me a bunch of money, I'll tell you that this bag of flaming dog shit is the coolest shit I've ever seen in my entire life, because you're paying me to do it.
It is a flaming bag of dog shit.
Right. But you're paying me to talk about it. Whereas like the rest of us who are like, hey, I'm playing this game, I'm actually having a great time with it. This is my review on the game, or this is my first initial thoughts of the game. Nobody's looking at them anymore. Now we have these insanely high paid sponsorships that everyone goes to for all of their information.
Well, like you look at like articles like Screen Rant, CBR, Kotaku, IGN. Screen Rant is
come on, man.
And
I wouldn't trust Screen Rant to babysit my dog.
Like,
and I don't have a dog.
Like, no, and that's the thing is like when I look at like a lot of the reviewers, like, because I remember now the one I sent, it was I think it was the dude who was saying like, stop, we're gamers like you guys, and it was interesting to me because he was complaining and about the way that people that they attack, which is fair. Like some people do go way too far with it, but I'm not gonna lie, some of y'all set yourself up for this. Like you also set yourself up, and let's say I'm not saying that you should lie. I'm not saying you should lie, but people as gamers are not, they're not on all of them, but they're not stupid.
Right.
Like, I mean, they know when I feel like you're just purposely being disingenuous. Like I saw one of them and the guy was talking about Jump Force. And he was talking about Jump Force. Jump Force did not do well. Right?
At all.
It did not do well.
God, I wish it did.
I guess it did too. However, it did.
It was a great
guy was saying
poor execution.
Oh yeah. And so he was talking about how this game is actually amazing, and you guys only hated on it for no reason. I'm like, no, there was some really valid criticisms of this. You can't just dismiss those and then go and say that you're hating. And that's actually one of my biggest problems, is because that's what I mentioned before about people not being able to take that kind of any kind of criticism. And then they just say, hey, no, these people are just hating on the games, because you get to that, oh, if you don't like it, don't play it. Okay, cool. So we saw with Battlefield 5, I believe it was, when they had that same kind of mindset, it was one of the execs from EA mentioned it. If you don't like it, don't play it, right? They lost like 80% of their fucking pre-orders.
Yeah.
It was a huge percentage of pre-orders. And and that's the thing, is like you have to listen not just to like the people who are the people who are gonna make your game sound amazing, but the ones
to the motherfuckers that are gonna actually pay for it.
Yeah. That's what we need to be doing with EA, Ubisoft, Mr. Like, just because you're paying for it doesn't mean you own it. What?
Yeah, I still want to hit him with the stiffest Shoryuken I can.
Yeah, no, 64 palms of death is what I want to do. Like, no, literally just need to stop doing it. The moment that I heard that Ubisoft was like that, I was like, all right, I'm not buying Mirage now. Like, goodbye.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
my wife
uninstalled.
bought me Mirage, and I want to burn the fucking thing.
Yeah, like
No,
just straight up. You just gotta like, you know, be like, all right, since you don't want to listen to us, since you want to keep on doing this, boom. No more money for you.
Absolutely. But I appreciate everybody else being here. This one definitely turned into the very. I was actually very excited with how the Assassin's Creed talk actually went.
We definitely have to do it again.
Oh no,
Absolutely.
For sure.
Yeah, we got a lot to talk about.
Yeah, we actually we really do. Maybe we'll make like a part 2 or something.
Yeah.
But like I said, I appreciate everybody else in here. Sage, Josh, Voices, all you guys. You guys wanna let them know where they can find you real quick? Not all at once.
I'm going to be respectful, and I'm going to let the old heads go ahead and, you know, say their stuff first.
God, I think I just threw up a little bit in my mouth.
So, Sage, you go first.
All right, so you can find me at Captain Goofy Hunter 2.0. That's pretty much where I'm at on TikTok. I do have an Instagram. Don't really post to it too much, so you'll more than likely find me on TikTok.
Awesome.
Hell yeah. Okay, so you can find me on Twitch, Phoenix Stewart, PhoenixStwrt. You can also find us on TikTok. You can find us on Instagram. Anywhere and everywhere you find podcasts, you know, come hang out, say hi. We're actually on Twitch in 1 hour exactly. So yeah, come say hi.
Absolutely.
Scorpio?
Oh no, like everybody knows where to find me. I'm just on Twitch at TTB BLK Scorpio, doing my games. I'm on usually 4 days during the week. Just unfortunately not going to be on tonight. I just finished doing a 4-day streak already going. I'll be live next week.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
And then I'm Voices on Demand. I'm the same thing on every platform. I'm doing a little bit on TikTok, trying to figure out how to, you know, really work that stuff. I'm mostly on Twitch. I was recently on a break from streaming, but I'll be starting that back up next week on Mondays, Thursdays, and Fridays. And then I'm also editing videos from previous streams to put onto YouTube. So Voices on Demand on YouTube, but with them, they're a little bit weird. It's Voices on Demand 613. So,
hell yeah.
Awesome. Well, like I said, appreciate everybody for watching. You guys know where to catch me. But but as always, I'm Taylor from Afro Official G, and I'll catch you all in the next one.